Assalamu alaikum. This is Pure 1 Edexcel, and this is topic coordinates. Okay, in topic coordinates, we're talking about equation of straight line. And equation of straight line, we can write it in two forms. We can write it as y equal mx plus c, or ax plus by plus c equals 0 with rearranging the terms. Okay, first thing about coordinates is drawing the straight line. This is called the linear equation. Equation of straight line is a linear equation with the highest power of x 1. Here the highest power of x, it's power of 1. So the first thing we are going to explain is how to draw, okay, when you have the equation, how to draw the straight line. Okay, so if I have an equation like y equal 2x plus 1. So how to draw any straight line? We need at least 2 points to draw a straight line. We need at least 2 points. Then we can extend this line, okay? So how to get 2 points? Just substitute x with any values. So for example, here we can say when x equals 0 and substitute it. So 2 multiply 0 plus 1 equals 1. And when x equals 1, so 2 multiply 1 plus 1 equals 3. So we have the point 0 and 1, 1 and 3. Then we can draw the straight line. Another way, when you have equation like 2x plus 3y equals 12. So here, when I have the equation this way, I can substitute x one time with 0, and the other time I'm going to substitute y with 0. Okay, so when x equals 0, I'm going to remove this, so it will be equal 3y equal 12. That means that y equals 4. And when y equals 0, so 2x equal 12, so x equals 6. So I will have the point 0 and 4, 6 and 0. So this is the first part about drawing the straight line using the equation. The second part, which is very important, how to writing the equation of straight line. Okay, so we can say that the equation of straight line is y equal mx plus c. So here, to write the equation like y equal to x plus 1, for example, I need to have two things. I need to have the gradient and the y-intercept. This is called the gradient. M is the gradient, which is representing the slope of the line, okay? The difference in y over difference in x, this length over this length. And the y-intercept is representing the intersection point with the y-axis. Like if we have here the x-axis and y-axis, okay? So I have a line like that. So here the intersection point at 1, that means that c equals 1, okay? So this is the y-intercept and this is the gradient. So to write an equation of straight line, we need to get both of them. We need to get the gradient and we need to get the y-intercept. Or we have another way, which is the gradient and point. Let's first explain how to get the gradient and how to get the y-intercept. So first, for the gradient, we have 3 ways to get the gradient. The first way is from the formula when we have the graph, or we have the coordinates of 2 points. We have x1, y1, x2 and y2. what we're going to do here is to use the formula for the gradient, which is m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, and that's it. So when I have 2 points, let's say we have the point 2 and 3, we have the point 10 and 12. So I have to get the gradient equal 12 minus 3 over 10 minus 2, which is equal 9 over 8. That's it. Okay, and when writing the gradient, write it as a fraction. Okay, type. The second way, so the first way, when we have the graph or coordinates 2 points, we are going to use y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. The second way, when we have the equation of the line, if I have the equation of the straight line, so the equation is y equal mx plus c, right? So where is the gradient here? The gradient is this number. So if I have an equation y equal 3x plus 5, where is the gradient? Yes, I can see the gradient. It's 3. That's it. Okay, but here there's a very important thing, which is to get the gradient from the equation, you need to make y subject. Make y subject first. Okay, this is very important. Okay, like if I have an equation 2y minus 3x equals 5, and I'm asking you where is the gradient, you can't say it's 3 or negative 3. You need to make y subject first. So 2y equals 3x plus 5, then divide by 2, y equals 3 over 2x plus 5 over 2. So yes, now I can see the gradient, which is 3 over 2. The last thing to get the gradient, when I have the gradient of another line. If I have a gradient of another line, either this line is parallel or perpendicular, I can get the gradient of my line. So if I have two lines like L1 and L2, L1 is parallel to L2. Parallel means it's moving in the same direction. Okay, so when I have the two lines are parallel, that means that M1 equals to M2. They have same gradient. And if I have L1 perpendicular to L2, so M1 equals negative the reciprocal of M2. Negative the reciprocal means to flip the fraction and then it's negative. Okay, so to have an example in this, if I have M1 equal 2 over 3, so M2 will be equal negative 3 over 2. If I have M1 negative 1 over 5, so M2 will be equal 5. Okay, so this is the three ways. These are the three ways to get the gradient. So if I have the gradient, I can write the equation y equal mx. But what about c? It's the y-intercept. So I need to have a way to get the y-intercept. So let's move to the y-intercept. And like the gradient, we have three ways to get the y-intercept. The first way is from the graph. How to get the y-intercept from the graph? It's so easy. As we have the graph, this is the y-axis. And x-axis. Okay, so if I have my line like that, and this is the point 5, for example. So now I can say that the y-intercept c equals 5. But if I'm asking you about the point of intersection with the y-axis, you need to write it as 0 and 5. Okay, so this is as a coordinates, and this is the y-intercept as a number, which is 5. The second way is the same like that, exactly the same. when I have the equation of the line. How? Because here, if I have the equation of the line, I will have the y-intercept. How? Same here, if I have y equal 3x plus 5, so instead of having the gradient, I'm going to highlight the y-intercept, C. Like here, same. Instead of highlighting the gradient, I will highlight the y-intercept. So the important part here is to make y subject, that's it. The last thing here is when I have a given point. If I have a given point, it could be a point like 0 and any number, for example 0 and 3. It's a point on the line. So as I have 0 in the x coordinate, that means it's just like this point, 0 and 5. So I will say that 3 is the y-intercept. What if I have any other point like 2 and 3, 5 and 7, any point? So how to get the y-intercept? Actually, if I have a given point like that, the gradient has to be given in this question. So for example, I will have the point 2 and 3, and then as a given gradient, for example, is 5. Then we're going to solve this equation. How? Using substitution. How substitution? I have the equation y equal mx plus c. So I'm going to substitute y with 3. Here is x and y. So y3 equal 5 multiply the gradient multiply x, which is 2 plus c. So this is 10, in the other side negative 10, so c equal negative 7. Okay, so this is how to get the y-intercept, how to get the gradient. Okay, if you have the y-intercept and the gradient, you can write the equation of straight line. Okay, now we have some important rules. Like for example, first we have special lines first. Special lines means they have different way to write the equation, like y equal 3. Y equal 3 is a horizontal line. Horizontal line passing through the point 3. Okay? X equals 2. X equals 2 is a vertical line passing through the point 2 in the x-axis. Okay, this is x equals 2. This is y equals 3. We have also y equals x or x equals y, and this is a diagonal. Why? Because we'll have for x equal 1, y equal 1. For x equal 0, y equal 0. For x equal negative 1, y equal negative 1. So it's diagonal. And the opposite of it is y equal negative x. It's still a diagonal, but in the other way. So we'll find it like that. X equal 1, y equal negative 1. X equal 2, y equal negative 2, and so on. Okay? Okay, then we have another point, which is when I'm saying in the question, this is very important. When I'm saying that in the question that a given point, point A, for example, in the line is intersecting the x-axis, or we can say that the line intersecting x-axis at point A. So now I can know that this point A has y coordinates equal 0. It's x and 0. When I am saying the line intersecting the y-axis at point B, that means that the coordinates, the x coordinates equal 0. So I can say that this point is 0 and y. Okay. Another rule, which is we set the gradient, we wrote it up that it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. We have also the midpoint. The rule of midpoint is the average of x1 plus x2 over 2, y1 plus y2 over 2. Also, we have the rule of the distance or length of the line. It's a square root of x1 minus x2 squared plus y1 minus y2 squared. Okay, so we have the gradient, the midpoint, and the distance. Okay, now for any question, we are going to check the questions in the next video, solving questions. So we will need all of these rules to write the equation, to get the gradient, to find the y-intercept, to get the midpoint, the coordinate of the midpoint, to have the length. But here we will have another question, which is the area of shape. Like if I have this x-axis and y-axis, then I will have a triangle like that. Okay, and I have the coordinate of this point, let's say 2 and 5, negative 2 and 5, and we have the coordinate of this point 1 and 0. We have the coordinate of this point 0 and 7, and the coordinate of this point negative 3 and negative 2. Okay, now this triangle, to get the area of this triangle, what you need to do, I know that the area of triangle is half base times height. But here, to get the base, here is the base and here is the height. Okay, so to get the base, we have the coordinates, which is, for example, A, B. So we have the coordinates of A, coordinates of B. So to get the base, you are going to get the distance AB. How to get the distance AB? Using the rule of the distance, square root of 0 minus negative 3 squared plus negative 2 minus 7 squared, and get this distance. Then to get the distance CD, which is the height, it's a square root of 1 minus negative 2 squared plus 0 minus 5 squared. And after getting them, you are going to get the area, which is half times base times height. Okay, so check the next videos for more examples. Okay, that's it for the equation of straight